Graham, I love you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I wanted to ask, please, about integration of energy, because I've recently been, I guess, working as a psychic in a channel, and after a reading, sometimes I get like so horny, it's overwhelming, or I'm up all night, and I don't know like what's going on in my energy.
This is not a look of disapproval. There's just a lot to unpack here. Because we want to talk about the sophistication of this law of attraction field and how many things that you've lived and that are still active within you, everyone, and how really good the law of attraction is at gathering them all up. So if you are really in tune with your inner being, and that means you are 100% on the upper half of the emotional scale, then only things that are 100% on the upper half of the emotional scale would be your experience while you're channeling or while you're interpreting. So describe to us a sort of scenario, this mixture of energies, because you don't want to get your head in that game. You don't want to get your physical head in that game.
Yeah, thank you. Before...
Or any other of your physical parts.
Thank you. Before I do a reading with someone, I do lists of positive aspects. I do many focus wheels. I do Qigong. I get myself into a state of unconditional love. But then sometimes afterwards, it's like, I don't want to say, I guess it's almost like, it's so wonderful, like what I'm doing, like watching myself, that I get so excited that I either just become like incredibly horny. I don't know, how to just like go to sleep, because I don't, with my chi and everything, I don't. Or sometimes I'm just like so excited, I can't fall asleep.
Well, the sensation of more energy moving through you than you're accustomed to is what you're describing. It's just more energy. Sexual energy is a strong energy, and it's also mostly an aligned energy. Napoleon Hill wrote a book in the 60s, and he had a chapter in it called Sexual Transmutation. And Jerry taught from that book for years before he met us. And he always skipped that chapter because it was embarrassing to him to have that conversation. But the reason that it was an important chapter in the book is because the sexual experience is an experience where, not always, but more often, people are focused on where they want to be more than they are focused on where they are. In other words, they have something that they're moving toward, and often in concert with someone else. And so in the connecting of the dots sort of thing, it is a satisfying experience. It's also, maybe not lost on anyone, that it is also the reproductive mechanism for your species. And so talk about creativity exploding into that. And so that explains that part of it. But there's more split energy going on for you than you really want. And so it makes us want to talk to you about segment intending. In other words, when you're stepping into something, put your marbles in the bag as you step in. And so as you're going to work with someone, set your intentions that you want to be in that vibration of clarity, that you want to rendezvous with their broader perspective, that you want to be able, therefore, to afford insight to what they're reaching for, that you want to be a good communicator so that you can build some bridges from where they are to where they really want to be. All those things are things that you're doing. And then also set the intention that when it's done, you detach from that.
How's best to detach, please?
By focusing on something else.
Could I have an offering, please? Because I know I'm ready for it because it's what I'm attracting. But like the other day, I had a client, and she was like, "Oh, my husband's tried to kill me 3 times." I know, Jerry's philosophy is my philosophy, that everyone's going to be uplifted. But could I just have an offering, please, if I'm attracting a client like that? Of
course you are. It couldn't be otherwise.
Disconnecting.
Couldn't be otherwise. You're trying to save the world. And we get why. Esther thought that too at first. She thought that receiving this energy, that the whole purpose of it was to help people from falling off cliffs and things like that. But she didn't have an understanding about the law of attraction then, you see. And so it's a wonderful thing to help people. And we're not for a moment suggesting that you aren't or that you don't want to, but you have to be in a position where you're stable before you can help anybody. And so just the fact that you're talking about that the way you are, it's no wonder you're awake at night. That's a lot to think about, isn't it?
Yeah.
We want to be gentle about this and really sensitive to what's going on with you and to those of you who are listening in here. But we're going to go right after it in the blunt way that we know. And that is, the law of attraction is a real thing. And the people that you're encountering, they can't really help in this moment what they're attracting, because they've been attracting it without knowing that they're attracting it, and they've established this momentum and these patterns of thought. And the law of attraction is not saying, oh, no, you don't want that. The law of attraction is saying, here you go, here you go. The law of attraction isn't saying anything, but we're translating for it. People are getting what they're expecting. And so someone who has someone attacking them or someone abusing them wants to believe that it is the other person's assertion into their experience. But it isn't. It is a cooperative component to the vibrational summoning that's going on. And so, of course, that's your work. Your work is to help people to adjust their summoning, to summon on purpose, to be deliberate about what they think about. But they can't change all at once. No one can all of a sudden stop the momentum. It's like the story that we tell about you're in San Francisco and you've decided to take your car to the top of the hill and you can see the bay way down there, and you decide just for fun you're going to take it out of gear and take the brake off of it, and then you're just going to see how much power you have and you're just going to nudge it from behind. Sure enough, the car starts to roll a little bit, and you know, because you know about the law of gravity and the law of inertia, you know about these consistent laws, you know that you're going to reach a tipping point where that car is going to get away from you and it's going to go right into the bay. And you know that even if you ran out in front of it, that you couldn't stop it, it would run right over you because there's momentum involved. But you're smart enough to know that if you catch it early enough, if you step out in front of it and it bumps up against you, you stop it, you caught it before the momentum took it further. Well, a lot of people have a lot of momentum going. They didn't stop it at an earlier stage, but they still can. They just didn't, but they still can. They just didn't, but they still can. And so, as long as your message is that you can get to where you want to be, you heard us with our friend earlier. He went on and on and on for a long time. Where did he go? He went on and on and he ran away. We don't blame him. He went on and 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 on. We did almost everything in our power to stop him from doing that. But momentum's momentum, and law of attraction's law of attraction. So the offering that we're offering to you that you might want to offer to everybody is, hey, you're attracting stuff, and you're not doing it on purpose, but you're attracting stuff. And you don't have to. You can change it, but for a while it's going to pretty much be like it pretty much is, because you don't change things all at once. But you're doing real good. You're doing what you came to do, you're mixing it up, and most important, you have launched all kinds of rockets of desires into your vortex. You got to tell them the whole story. You got to let them know. And we know to a lot of people it sounds like a crazy story. Reality feels like this stuff. It doesn't feel so much like this vortex stuff, but it is. And so soothing is solving. Soothing is solving. And making it all right that anybody is where they are must be a part of your message, because it has to be all right, because it can't be otherwise. You can't say your point of attraction is wrong, or you shouldn't be in the point of attraction that you're in. It's logical that the way life has touched you, your little kids and your parents are drunk and fighting. You're going to pick some of that stuff up. And you go to school and your teacher is in the middle of menopause. And she doesn't want to be there. And she doesn't like any of you. And she makes it obvious all day long. And that affects you. And you have knee-jerk reactions to it. And so all of us who have knowledge about the law of attraction want to start explaining it to people. It's all right, honey. You're not attracting this on purpose, but you are attracting it, and you don't have to. You could gradually change to be something else, but you got this bag of marbles that you've been collecting, and every marble that you've ever collected, every thought you've ever thought, you still have access to, but they're not all active. And you know what? It's not even the dominant ones that equal what you're living. It's the active ones that equal what you're living. So if you can just start remembering, oh yeah, I used to love that and I still do. Or, oh yeah, I really like that person and I still do. In other words, if you can just start contouring more of your thoughts to the things that feel good to you now when you think them, your point of attraction can change in an afternoon. Somebody could have someone hard after them, like you're describing, could come to this seminar and just listen to us explain about the law of attraction and could make some decisions and just do a little bit more deliberate job of attracting marbles on purpose. You know they're not marbles, right? It's just an analogy that makes it easier and a little more entertaining. Your point of attraction, you are in charge of the thoughts that you think. You are in charge of the thoughts you think. You can't control your government. You cannot control the weather. Well, you sort of can. You can't control what other people are doing. You can't control what other people want. You are not anybody else's point of attraction, but you are yours, and you are a teacher, and you are an uplifter, and you have a vortex that is enormous, and you can align with it, and you weren't when you asked that question, but you are now. Yeah?
Yeah. When I connect to Sophia, I ask her, she helps me form like a flower. So when I come back to the real world, I imagine that, I'm holding like this flower. And I was wondering if at the end of this seminar, if you could take us through a guided meditation where we create a flower so that when we go out in those worlds.
Call Sophia. You don't need that.
You're right.
What's that about? Come on. We're playing with you, but we really want you to hear. We really want you to hear. Everybody's got their way about going about everything. There's not one way that's righter than any other. And you've created your relationship with every one of you has created your relationship with your inner being and your vortex version, and it's up to you to sort it out. And you can feel better than you do. And if you want to feel better, then go after it. And when you deliberately feel better, you're going to see results of it. And the better you feel, the more you benefit the people around you. This is a really good time for a segment of reframe.